Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Noxious Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks 2017 Watchalong for episode 2, titled The Stars Turn and a Time Presents Itself. I want to thank you all for joining me. Last night we did the first episode. It was a tremendous success. We had about 70 of you watching the episode live with me, and the numbers have just been climbing ever since. You guys were wonderful in the comment section, even though you guys were talking about all 4 of the episodes as opposed to just episode 1. So maybe tonight you guys can limit your conversation in the chat to just episode 2, just so that I can better scan the comments and pull some good ones so I can share them with other viewers and that may not be able to participate live tonight, because after the episode gets uploaded, the whole chat section disappears. So those comments aren't like added to the comment section. So obviously, if you write a good comment, I want to be able to share it with other people who are watching later. So for those of you who don't know, and this is your first watch along, what we're going to do is we're going to watch the second episode of Twin Peaks The Return, or Twin Peaks Season 3, or whatever we want to call it. I know Showtime's calling it Twin Peaks The Return, although the actual title in the credits is just Twin Peaks. But we're going to watch it together, and I'm going to make comments. You guys are going to make comments, and we're going to basically just act like we're in the same room together. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a great joy. I know many of you have already seen these episodes multiple times. This is really my second time watching these episodes, so I'm going to be coming in with even fresher perspective, I guess. You guys will be like, oh, this is old hat, I've seen this a million times. I'll be like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this reminds me of this. This reminds me of that. And those two viewpoints are going to mash up really nicely for these watch-alongs. Then after the episode, we will have a short discussion, kind of just, bringing some resolution to this video. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be doing episode 3. And then Friday, I'll be doing episode 4. So obviously, if you are one of those people who do not have the Showtime streaming app or have not seen episodes 3 and 4, I advise you not to watch those watch-alongs until after they air this coming weekend. Now, I have mine loaded up on the Showtime streaming, so just so you know, when I tell us to hit play, I'm going to have basically a 1-minute Showtime commercial prior to the episode starting. So I just want to make sure we're all in sync here. And I just want to thank you all for joining me tonight. It's always a real pleasure. Let me just open up this window here. I want to be able to see all you guys, and I have to wait for the episode to start, or else otherwise I start getting some feedback on these things. Yeah, what's really interesting is that, for those of you who don't know, these first 2 episodes were aired together as one cohesive 2-hour premiere. And I thought it worked out really, really well. Some of you guys are fans of the split. I'm all right with it. I don't hate it, but I would much prefer this being a 1 2-hour long episode from episode 1 and 2, not necessarily this watch along being 2 hours. Don't get me wrong. So yeah, it's a that's why I got confused last night when I said that Tracy and Sam. I was like, well, they're listed on IMDb for 2 episodes, but I only know them from this one. And did they show up later in some other form? And you guys were like, no, they're in episode 2. And I totally forgot that what aired Sunday was episodes 1 and 2 together. It was late last night, and I just thought it was one big episode again. So that's what happens. You get used to those 2-hour pilots, and then you realize, no, they're going to split it up. So I wish they'd split it up on Showtime, because otherwise it just lent to confusion, because it really worked well as a nice little 2-hour package on Sunday. So, all right, guys, it is time to get lost in those woods again tonight. Let's sync up. Let's get ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see here. We've got some wonderful people in the comments section already. We got Dallas here. We got Luba, Alvarez, Danomano's here, Jay's here. We have was that Odbor? He's here. Wonderful. It's just great having you all here. Really appreciate it. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna be hitting play, and I'm gonna give you guys a good 8 seconds to get it set up. Hopefully, you guys are already set up before you. I tried to announce this. I put this announcement for the video really early this morning, so you guys would have time to know what time to be ready and also to sync up. So, all right. So we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hit play. All right, so I got this nifty Showtime commercial, and they're advertising all their shows as usual. But are you guys having fun tonight? Yeah, let's rock this, Adamir. And Timeout of Mine says thanks. William says I'll sync it too. Daduda says syncing. Great. Wonderful. Just so you guys know, there is sort of a time delay. So when I'm saying stuff, by the time I look in the comments, you guys will just be picking up. So just so you guys know, we may be a little off here and there, but it will work out. All right, so here it goes. Showtime's kicking it off. And we're going to start with the Rancho Rosa partnership with the electricity. Yeah, so we begin with the shot that we've seen in a lot of the teasers with the and then we get obviously the Laura Palmer shot. We don't get the full opening as we did with episode 1, but this is even though this credit sequence has all the elements of what we saw prior, it is a little shortened, especially towards the end. This is a beautiful shot of the woods. I just think it's gorgeous. And it's nice to have Dwayne Dunham back as an editor. He really knows how to work with David Lynch's material. Peter Deming did a really nice job with this show, too. I know some people think the digital look has ruined some of the mystery of Twin Peaks, but the way I look at it is we're not really spending all that much time in Twin Peaks yet, so it's hard to really say that. But I do like the red curtains blowing, and again, it reminds me of Isabella Rossellini's robe in Blue Velvet during the opening credits of that movie. And of course, then we get the Black Lodge zigzags with the All right, so here we go. Episode begins, and Matthew Lillard is playing Hastings, character, last name Hastings. He's the principal of a school. He is giving a very intense performance here. Again, I was talking all great things about Matthew Lillard last night, but I just want to say again, he really did a wonderful job with his role here. It's a small role as far as we know so far, but he's absolutely wonderful in it, and you can tell that he did not take this lightly. He really wanted this to be good. So I appreciate that, Matthew. And I just also want to give a shout out here to the woman playing his wife, Phyllis. This is Cornelia Guest. And their scene here, it's pretty much it's a 2-shot side profile coming up. And this is a long, extended, really intense dialogue scene between the two. Now, I've had some people contact me and say, I see nothing but David Lynch in this new show. I don't see any Mark Frost. Well, I think this is one of those Mark Frost moments. You know, the intensity is David Lynch, but the spoken words and the subtlety of what they're saying underneath their words is pure Mark Frost. And again, I've always said that David Lynch and Mark Frost working together is just a match made in heaven. Now, Matthew Lillard's talking about that he, wasn't in this room where Ruth died, but he had a dream that he was there, that he was in her apartment. And then, of course, makes us recall things like Lost Highway. Phyllis, of course, is trying to convince him that he was there because she is in love with his lawyer, George. and she's also dealing with doppelganger Cooper / Bob, and she wants this man out of her life because presumably she found out that he's having an affair with his secretary, who will play a crucial role, I think, as the series goes on. But this is two really good actors giving strong performances with no cutaways. They're just staring each other down. It's absolutely wonderful. You can feel the intensity and the animosity between the two of them. And if there's any doubt, when she turns around and says, "Goodbye, Bill," and that look, he realizes that he's been set up by her. And of course, we do too. There's Brent Briscoe again. He's a wonderful actor. I mentioned I first saw him in 96's Sling Blade. He's absolutely terrific in that film as well. Matthew Lillard realizes, oh my God, I've been framed, and he goes right back to his hands on his head, and he is just, man, it's been a long time since I've seen Matthew Lillard actually have a role where he was required to act, and he just latches onto it. So Phyllis comes out and lets George know that her husband is on to them. He knows, she says. And George is a little worried about that. And Phyllis says, "I'll see you later at my place," and walks out. George, wanting to play it cool, of course, is going to walk up to the police and be like, "Oh, how's he doing?" And I love this idea of this normalcy mixed in with intrigue and the supernatural, and it just, Lynch and Frost really know how to deliver this well. Now, here's a scene. Matthew Lillard again is in jail. We pan over, and we come to an image of what basically looks like Osama bin Laden covered in soot. But believe it or not, this is a CGI Frank Silva. It's listed in the credits as Bob Frank Silva. And after he disappears, you see his face just kind of floating off into the top of the screen. There's going to be a few characters floating off into the top of the screen in this episode, let me tell you. So Phyllis comes home. This is a beautiful shot, by the way. I love the lamp light on the paintings and the pictures, and that old piano. It's really pretty. And Phyllis comes in and discovers Bob, or Cooper, as doppelganger Cooper as Bob, and then we realize that she is working with him because her husband mentioned in the cell that she was seeing George and possibly another man, and this is the other man. He says, "You did good. You follow human nature perfectly." This is coming from a guy who bashed his head into a mirror before brushing his teeth 25 years previously. So he plugs her in the head, and image distorts when she gets hit in the head. It's kind of an interesting choice. He shoots her with George's gun, so presumably the lawyer will be framed for her murder. And he walks off. Again, we got the Angelo Badalamenti music, jazzy music playing under the Las Vegas. This is a scene. Now we see this character. He's going to reoccur in some future episodes. But this scene where they're talking about, don't get involved with this man, and it's without ever saying what it's about. It reminds us, of course, of the Mulholland Drive. Two guys in the Winky's diner talking about the bum behind the trash can, because they don't really say what they're talking about, but we just feel the sense of menace. And his assistant says, "Can I ask you a question?" And he's like, "Go ahead." It says, "Why do you let him make you do these things?" Now, who knows who they're referring to? I don't think they're referring to Doppelganger Cooper. They're probably referring to somebody we have no idea who they're talking about. Obviously, we don't. Someone we don't know, or they're referring to the anonymous billionaire from the previous episode who is housing that portal in that warehouse. Anyway, this is a prime scene of something that Lynch can do better than anybody, which is create supreme dread between two characters talking when we have no idea what they're even really referring to. But this actor is wonderful. He was in The Dark Knight and a bunch of other movies. And then there's a nice scene with the train horn blaring, and but we don't really see a train, I don't think. It creates a perfect sense of mood and ambiance. And then we're going to go into a diner. Oh, there's the train. We do see the train. Okay. I thought it was going to be one of those just things like the traffic light. So we're at this diner here. Bob Cooper is sitting there with Ray, Jack, and Daria. And so what's going on here is that Bob / Cooper is wanting Ray, who's sitting across from him, to get some information from Matthew Lillard's secretary that he is presumably having an affair with. Because apparently she has the coordinates to the Black Lodge or something of that nature. She has directions, coordinates, something he needs, or not needs, I'm sorry, wants. He has wants. He makes it very clear in the scene. It's wants. But there is subtext here, which is really fascinating because Bob is noticing that Daria is making eyes at Ray. And meanwhile, Jack is like snacking on, according to Ray, his third dinner. But if you watch this scene very carefully, he says, Bob says, there's one thing you should know about me, Ray, is that I don't need anything, I want. And that's a very Bob line, and it's fantastic because Bob is a primeval, primordial spirit that just is about wants and desires. And that's why he glances over. Look at the way Daria is just checking out Ray. She's like looking at him. She's looking away, but looking at him. And, Ray knows this information is pretty important to Bob, or Cooper, as they refer to him as. But look at the way Kyle MacLachlan plays this. It's fantastic. He turns his head, glances at Daria as she is eyeing Ray, and he is onto them. Kyle MacLachlan is doing an incredible job in the show. I really hope he gets an Emmy nomination for this. Look at the way he glances over, sees her looking at him, and he knows. He's aware. What's really interesting is this isn't the Bob of, Coop, what happened to Josie? This is the Bob that we have not seen since the, just visually, not in canon, in the international pilot that extended 20 minutes of they added to the original pilot where Bob is talking to Cooper in the basement. This is that Bob, just even more articulate. So it's nice to see that Bob is being played not as just this crazy demon that's like screaming everything, but as somebody who actually has an agenda. Now we are in the woods. We are Hawk is in the woods. We get that legendary Lynch flashlight shot, the beautiful Glastonbury Grove music that so haunting in the final episode of Twin Peaks. We are introduced to Hawk's cell phone here, which is a new thing. I know a lot of people were not wanting cell phones in Twin Peaks, but it works. And then we get to see the log lady one more time. And but see, Hawk says, once again, your log and I are on the same page. Supposed to be something happening here tonight. Now, what is supposed to be happening here? you know, I don't know. The log lady says the stars turn and a time presents itself. So she uh, is giving the episode its title. And so are we to assume that it's the Jupiter Saturn thing again from 25 years ago? Maybe. Um, this is so sad when she says, I'm too weak to go with you, but stop by. I have coffee and pie for you. Yeah, because I know if this had been made 10 years previous, the log lady would be with Hawk right now, and they would be getting Cooper out safely. But it's wonderful to see Catherine E. Coulson at least one more time. I'm hoping she shows up again, but if not, then we have these two wonderful performances. I mean, it's one shot, uh, her on the phone, but she definitely gives it her all. She knew that this was going to be her legacy, and she gave it 100,000,000%. This is beautiful. I love the idea of Glastonbury Grove, and with all the trees and the the little pool there, and I love the fact that he's hearing the whooshing, and all of a sudden the red drapes come in, and I don't know if he's seeing the red drapes or just feeling the red drapes, but he knows this isn't just some random place in the woods. It's just I think it's so beautiful. I always thought in the finale of Twin Peaks was so beautiful the way the drapes just appeared and Cooper walked through. Then we're reintroduced to more Badalamenti music from second season, and this begins one of the first trippy scenes that this episode will go into. We see the empty chair and the couch, and then Cooper sitting in the chair. And he looks over, and the one-armed man is there, and he repeats a line that is from the Missing Pieces, where the little man says, "Is it future or is it past?" Now, I had a viewer write to me say that she thinks that there's a reason why some of these scenes might not these particular scenes, but why like the Ben Horn scene kind of comes and goes, and it shows up and then we don't ever see the Horn brothers again in these two episodes. And she's thinking that maybe we're seeing some of these scenes in the wrong chronological order. So maybe is it future, is it past? Maybe after we see the 18 episodes, we'll realize that there are multiple timelines going on. I don't know if that's happening or not, but I think that's fascinating. What's also fascinating is that Cheryl Lee comes into the film now. She does this entire scene backwards, not just speaking backwards, but even her walking over to the chairs. I said couches, I'm sorry, 2 chairs. This is all backwards as well. And bravo to David Lynch and Mark Frost for showing Cooper and Laura as aged individuals. They're not trying to do makeup and lighting to make Cheryl Lee still look like, she's 17 years old. They're saying that you age in the Black Lodge. That's a fascinating concept. And you can also evolve in the Black Lodge, as we will see as the episode continues. She tells Cooper, "You can go out now." And I was thinking when I first saw this, really? That's it? That's easy? He can just leave? Okay, fantastic. But no, there's more to it than that. She's saying, "Do you recognize me?" And the amount of sorrow and resentment in her face is staggering. I mean, she does not look happy. I think she was hoping that Agent Cooper would have gotten out of here within the last 25 years and saved her in some capacity. She is not looking like the happy spirit we saw at the end of Firewall with Me. She looks upset. Now, it's interesting that she repeats the line from the dream. "I feel like I know her, but sometimes my arms bend back." It's intriguing to me that they are repeating some of the lines from the dream. Now, I know the dream is supposed to be theoretically 25 years later, but this is not a complete recreation of that dream. So we're getting some of the dream and we're getting some new stuff. And if she's saying new stuff, then why is she still referring to her arms bending back? I don't know. She says, I am Laura Palmer. She makes that a definitive statement. I am Laura Palmer. And Cooper says, but Laura Palmer's dead. Like, he's just like not having this anymore. And she says, I am dead, yet I live. And this has been a theory of mine. I probably am wrong, but I think that by the end of this series, Laura Palmer will be alive again outside of the Black Lodge. Just seems like that's the way we're heading. Now, is she trying to just let Cooper know there's a life force inside of her? I don't know why she takes her face off and shows this blinding white light. Maybe some of you guys have some theories about that in the comments, but it's another CGI moment that is rather shocking and surprising when you first see this episode. Cooper looks generally startled by that. It's quite funny. And she just continues to just glare at him. And he's like, oh, crap. Yeah. When can I go? He says. And now we get the recreation of the Laura Palmer walk over to Agent Cooper and kiss him that we got from the dream sequence, or the original 25-year sequence from the international pilot. Now, this is what's interesting. A number of you guys have pointed this out to me, and I find it really intriguing that after she kisses him, if you notice, Cooper like puckers up first, which is she just gives him that Laura smile, and then he's like, come here, and then he starts, whoa. It's quite humorous. But there is a voice that says whisper, and it's not Laura and it's not Cooper. Somebody off screen tells her to whisper. And she starts whispering. Now, I know a few of you have been sharing around an audible of what she may be whispering, kind of cranked up. I myself haven't been able to hear that yet. So if you guys know, throw that in the comments. That'd be great. Cooper looks generally disturbed by what he's hearing from her. She definitely didn't say, my father killed me. I'll tell you that much. But now, I don't know if you guys, watch Twin Peaks and The Vampire Diaries, but in season 5 of The Vampire Diaries, this happened all the time to characters. They would just start screaming uncontrollably and then whisked away. So it was kind of really bizarre. And again, it's like the Black Lodge obviously does not like the fact that she whispered something in his ear. They're just whisking her away, flying her off the screen. And are they flying her to another place in the Black Lodge, or are they flying her out of existence? It's hard to know. Much like Annie was written out of existence from Mark Frost's book. And, so who knows what to believe? I guess we'll find out soon enough. And then the drapes move and the white horse appears. Of course, now whenever you see a white horse, instead of thinking about Twin Peaks, you're thinking about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So let's try to think more about Twin Peaks. But anyway, we're moving forward on the zigzag floor. And just this rumbling. I mean, I love the fact that Lynch is just uncompromising here, and he only gets more uncompromising as the episodes go on. And then we cut back, and Al Strobel again says to Cooper, is it future or is it past? Really just kind of throwing us off kilter and thinking, my God, is this what Agent Cooper has had to endure for 25 plus years? This constant what's going on. And I mean, he just looks patient but bewildered at the same time. And the Wonder Man's like, get your ass over here, Cooper. He's like, oh, crap. All right, fine. I'll go with you, Philip Gerard. Richard Welter says, I think the light indicates that she is actually an angel now after she was redeemed at the end of Fire Walk with Me. Interesting. And One Arm Man is leading Cooper over to I think David Lynch's biggest trolling moment of the night, turning Michael J. Anderson's Little Man from Another Place into a talking tree. Anyway, he says, the one arm says, the evolution of the arm. And we get this head that, resembles many things, right? The Eraserhead baby. The other night, I said it reminded me of the head from the alphabet, but what I meant was the head from Lynch's first film, Six Men Getting Sick. And the sputtering head here tells Cooper the same thing that the little man told him in Fire Walk with Me, that he sounds like this, but instead of going woo, 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 he goes anyway, he's warning Cooper about his doppelganger. So yes, we will see a killer tree in this episode, which is fantastic. We are, usually I'm against cuts to prior episodes to remind us of things, but come on, it's been 25 years. It works. We need to remind some new people here that there was a doppelganger that was chasing Cooper through the Black Lodge. Although by now they probably stopped watching the show, but it's good to see these scenes, especially played off of Cooper's face. He needed to remember himself. He's probably seen so many screwed up things over the last 25 years that he had to recall that too. And the tree says, or the arm says, that the doppelganger has to be back in the lodge before Cooper can leave, which makes sense. But I really like, this tree is CGI. And you see some of the branches are growing. It's really, I think it's a nice effect. All right, so here we have Bob is dealing with Jack here. This is the same guy that was eating the 3 dinners at the restaurant. Now, what's really interesting also about this show, and I think what confuses some people, is just how dense this new show is. The original Twin Peaks is something you could kind of watch, you could get involved with, but it kind of washed over you. It was very beautiful and poetic and all that great stuff. But it was something that you could easily follow if you were paying attention. This series has a lot of names, new names, dates, and locations. So if you're, yeah, you can understand it when you're watching it, but I think that if you have a repeat viewing, you'll get a sense of the plot becomes that much clearer. And so Bob grabs this guy's face and he's just like smashing it, because Bob's a very tangible entity. He likes to touch things and caress things, male or female, it appears. But now off screen, Cooper Bob is going to kill this guy, Jack. And that will come into play towards the middle of this episode. But it's important to remember these initial names, because otherwise it is a little confusing. I love thunder. Thunder in Twin Peaks is very cool. All right, so Bob pulls up to the motel, and Daria's like, he's coming. I knew it from the teaser that her saying that was in reference to Bob coming in, because it just it made sense. No one else can elicit fear as much as Bob. So he says, "Who are you talking to?" And she says, "Jack." Now, of course, Cooper Bob knows that that's now a complete lie, because he's already killed Jack. He even asks her, "What did Jack say?" And she's like, he said it's all good to go." And oh yeah, she's definitely playing him, and he knows it. Like, he's not like discovering in the scene that she's playing him. He walks into the scene knowing that she's playing him. And it's interesting that he just keeps looking out the windows, seeing if anyone's noticing him there. I think, there's so many great things about this new series, but I think Kyle MacLachlan's portrayal of the doppelganger and Bob is some of the best work that Kyle MacLachlan has done so far in his career, and that's saying a lot. So he keeps checking the windows. Look at those old phones. That's interesting that well, there's this, and there's something else that happens in a later episode. I won't get into it. That is definitely something that dates this. And even though this is supposed to be modern day, I wonder if some of these scenes. Well, no, I mean, it wouldn't be these scenes, but I wonder if some of these scenes, not this one in particular, but just in the show, aren't at different times. It might make sense if that is true. If not, then some of these towns just might have like older technology. But I look at the way Bob's just like holding this girl. He's just such a badass. He knows I'm gonna kill this woman, and it's sad, but it has to be done. He lets her know, I killed Jack 2 hours ago, and then he pulls her close. Now, I've heard some reviewers actually tell me that they thought this scene was super cheesy and that Kyle MacLachlan did a terrible job trying to act menacing. And I tell them, just go back and watch some other shows, and this isn't for you, because this, I think, completely works. So Bob plays her a little message on his little dictaphone, which is fantastic. A little callback there. And he replays a message from Ray from the man that they were at the restaurant, and that he is now in federal prison for carrying weapons over the state line. And he's asking Daria to basically kill Cooper if she sees him again, because they've been hired to do so. And he also makes a reference to Philip Jeffries contacting them. And that's when Cooper goes, or Cooper Bob, I should say, knows that there's more at play than just two little lovebirds that are trying to bump him off. Oh, look at the way he's got, sometimes Kyle in other roles, I just don't think that he works very well in some of these other movies. But when he works with Lynch knows how to tap into that side of Kyle and bring it out. He is just doing this so well. He's so patient with her. He knows he's gonna kill her, but he's in no hurry. She's like, "Are you gonna kill me?" He's like, "Yes, Daria." And she has to just be resigned to that. She tries to fight, but he doesn't even have to put up too much struggle. Punches her in the face, kind of. She now knows that it's kind of like a fly in a spider's web. She ain't getting out of this, and she knows it. And now he begins this great talk. Again, this is another Mark Frost moment here. People say to me, "Oh, I don't see Mark Frost at all in this." This dialogue scene is definitely Mark Frost with David Lynch visuals. She's saying, "I don't know who hired us." Ray knows, but of course, Ray's stuck in now this prison, which is going to play a factor in later as to something else. He says, "Do you really think that Ray's in prison for carrying guns over the state line?" And he is. But he wants to make sure, because he's going to try and do something himself here. I like when he says, "The game begins." Man, they really, they kind of lathered Kyle up and they make his face look all leathery with the jacket and the long hair. It's wonderful. So she says Ray and her were gonna split $500,000 to kill Cooper, and he's like, "Oh crap!" He knows there's more at stake here. I like it. It's just, oh, that's great when she says, "I just wanted to say that to Ray, that I would agree with it," and he goes, "Shut up, Daria." And look at the way he's looking right now. You see just this pure violence and hatred in his eyes. She's reminding him, you said you're going to go somewhere tomorrow. And this is where we get Bob saying, I'm supposed to be pulled back into the Black Lodge, but I'm not going back. I've got a plan. Oh, this is fantastic. So he knew for 25 years, he only had 25 years. Whereas when he was in Leland, he had, I guess, unstoppable time. Or not unstoppable time, but you know what I mean. Unlimited time. Anyway, so he brings Matthew Lillard's secretary to Daria. He says, did Matthew Lillard's character bring up the coordinates to her, geographical coordinates, numbers, letters? Did he tell her anything? And Daria says, whatever she knows, he knows. And Matthew Lillard's in jail, okay, but they're going to have to find the secretary. Who is the secretary to the principal that ties into Ruth's murder? That's I think a question that needs to be answered. Then he pulls out this card, and I don't really know anything too much about this symbol. Maybe one of you guys do. Direwolf says, if the CGI bothers you so much, you're paying too much attention to it. Yeah, Leonard says it's sort of like the owl symbol. It kind of is, but obviously it's not. And then again, she asks, are you going to kill me? And he's like, yes, Daria. It's just, I wonder if this was the scene that Joel Baca was talking about in our last podcast, where he says that he heard about a murder scene in a hotel room with Cooper. Probably was. Anyway, he kills Daria as he said he was going to. And then we get this gnarly shot. There's a lot of bloodshed in this series, but it's only when it needs to be. But some people were kind of repulsed by it. And okay, so Bob gets well, I guess he's just washing his hands. But that's a great image. Oh my God, so scary. This woman was just alive and now she's just dead on the bed. And he grabs a suitcase and he sets up. And I'm sure a lot of people were very surprised that the name Philip Jeffries came up again. One more reason why that extended scene was included in the missing pieces. David Lynch wanted us to see the full scene. And something a lot of you guys may not know is that obviously this is not David Bowie as Philip Jeffries. It is, in fact, Al Strobel, the one-armed man, playing the role. And I don't know if he's just playing the role to play the role or whether this is the one-armed man trying to trick Cooper Bob. They mention Major Garland Briggs. They mention New York. This is obviously, we have that teleporting glass box in New York and Major Briggs' possible body in the last episode. But Bob says, this is Philip Jeffries, right? He says, you're going back tomorrow and I will be with Bob again. So it's, this is the one-armed man playing a joke, or not a joke, but a trick. He's letting him know, I'm on to you. I'm coming to get you. And Bob knows it. He knows. He's like, crap. I love the fact that Lynch just lingers on him and lets him think and plan, like right in front of us. And we're left wondering, like, what is his game plan here? His game plan is this. He is going to search the FBI to see if Ray is actually in federal prison. And since he knows that Ray got taken to prison because of this crossing the border with the guns, this explains why Bob may have some materials in his trunk later on, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, he has certain materials in his trunk that will ensure that he gets into the same prison. That's why he's downloading the blueprints of the prison. He wants to know this place inside and out. And so while there may be a scene later on in the episodes that takes place at this prison, it didn't just happen by chance. This was a plan all along. Well, at least from this point moving forward. Trying to talk without giving away spoilers. You guys are talking about things that are happening in episode 3, so I can't really address those here. We can address those tomorrow. I am in the Jennifer Jason Leigh scene right now for anyone who is following along. Cooper Bob is in the motel room. I love Jennifer Jason Leigh, by the way. Just always been a huge fan of hers. And it's a small scene. Hopefully her character comes back. Chantel, as her name is. But when Kyle sits down and the camera cuts, the set decoration, whoever did this is just, they must have had a ball here. So Chantel walks over to him. She's carrying a gun and a drink. And on the ground, you see vodka next to a Yahoo, chocolate milk, and Cheez-Its on the chair. And as my friend Jay the Stingray from YouTube says, when Kyle feels Jennifer Jason Leigh and says, "You nice and wet," he said he could pretty much die a happy man. I agree. Fade out. So Cooper is, back in the still in the Black Lodge. He's looking at the tree, swaying, and it's not the wind, but the evolution of the arm says 253, and time again. So we're gonna need to remember these numbers: 253. There's so many numbers to keep track of in this new series. It's unbelievable. And he says Bob, and Bob. He's just like trying to remind Cooper, Bob, go now, go get his butt and bring him back here, and watch out for my evil tree self. It's so weird that, right, when Cooper like walks through the drapes or other shots, and like Lynch does this like ultra like static slow motion. It's something that I didn't see coming as a technique. Obviously Cooper is stuck. The drapes won't let him pass, so he's got to keep moving back and forth between the rooms. This is obviously a callback to the final episode 29, Twin Peaks. Now the tree is gone. Or the arm tree. I don't know. We got to come up with a good name for him. Let's see. Cooper walks. Let's see any of this. Huh. It's always interesting to see how people cut, when they open the drapes, to see if they repeat when they come walking out, or whether it's a, I don't know. It's just trying to see if it's a forward momentum motion, or whether they, all right. Let's see. Now we get Leland Palmer, and this is real Leland Palmer. This isn't the white hair Leland Palmer that we saw in the final episode, where he's like, I did not kill anybody. He's telling Cooper, find Laura. So obviously the Leland that was taken over as a boy by Bob, the innocent Leland, is here as well, stuck here, and he wants Laura found. So Cooper is on the case, I guess, or that's one more thing for him to do. And And he kind of just walks through these drapes, not through the drapes, but like literally through the drapes. And the floor is like, whoa, it's like, and at this point, you're like, oh my goodness, what a mind bender David Lynch is taking us on. And it's like, oh, you've seen nothing yet, I can assure you. Just one arm man just walking around with this like tree. That's great. And then all these like slow motion shots. And I know some people complain about the CGI here, like, oh, he's obviously standing on a green screen and there's no, red drapes around him. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Look, the vision they're trying to accomplish with this on a TV budget is staggering. So you have to give them a little bit of leeway. Again with the slow motion and the ominous whooshing sounds. Yeah. So I believe this is when he opens the drapes and he sees his doppelganger cruising down the road in the desert. And that is going to play a key scene in the next episode. But first, Cooper has to be accosted by a doppelganger arm tree. Here it goes. Even the camera image is distorting. He's being attacked by like a giant rotten lemon. I love how the zigzags come up and become like different flooring. That's really cool. And Cooper's just not having the best day in here. He's probably had better days in the Black Lodge, this not being one of them. And look at this. What it's like, it's water, but it also reminds me of the oil, the burnt engine oil. And Cooper lands on the teleportation box that we saw in episode 1. And he kind of just floats in, and any new viewers watching this we're like, if they even made it this far, they're like, what in God's name? But in a way, this is kind of recalling some of Lynch's last couple films, like Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire, where things are coming full circle, but not really. We think they are. We're like going, oh my God, is Cooper the one that killed Sam and Tracy? That would be terrible. But obviously he arrived while Sam was dealing with Tracy out in the hallway. So it wasn't him as far as we're aware of. But it could be somebody else that we see soon enough in the next episode. Only time will tell, though. What do you think? Do you think you think Sam and Tracy were just like two innocent kids that got just wrecked, or do you think their characters play a factor in the overall mystery as well in this? This is very cool, though. He like starts getting like ripped back in the box. There's just so much rumbling going on. And creaking. And here he goes. Boom, 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 boom. This is such a trip. Lynch is like, I am gonna just make you just have the biggest my trip of the night. Here he goes. Oh my goodness. And there you go. And there Cooper disappears. And the box is empty again. And he's going on a ride again. Falling through space. Are those like stars or around him? The stars are definitely turning now, that's for sure. Oh, poor Cooper. I feel so bad for him. But Kyle, man, he is just like showing up to the set and he's like, I am gonna be falling through space tonight. Let's do this. And now we cut to Laura Palmer's house, and Sarah is watching one of the gnarliest nature videos I've ever seen. I watch a lot of nature stuff. I've never seen anything like this gory. The fact that she's watching it on this big, big screen TV um, is rather shocking. But when the camera pans down and we see all those cigarettes, right? Oh my goodness! And then we come around and we see her in the mirror watching the show. I honestly thought Bob was, or something like that, was going to appear in the mirror, considering that's how Frank Silva was discovered for the original Twin Peaks. I thought there'd be a callback to that. And who knows? Maybe there is, and I just have not seen it yet. But yes, Sarah, she looks heavily engaged in this nature documentary that any one of us would have probably flipped the channel on by now. Daduda says, when the buffalo dies, its eyes go black like Evil Coop's eyes. And Direwolf says, I was checking the mirror the entire time too. David Dine says, her dead daughter is trapped in a room with a white horse and she's watching animals rip apart one another. Jamie says he loves the mirror shots. Dallas is calling out the Bloody Marys. And now we're at the Roadhouse, or in this case, it looks like the Bronze from Buffy. The Roadhouse, I guess, was always sort of a hipster biker bar, but now it's just a trendy hipster bar. This is a good scene, though. Here's our first introduction. Mädchen Amick returns as Shelley Johnson, and next to her is Jessica Zor. You may have seen her in Gossip Girl or Piranha 3D. She's playing a character named Renee that our James Hurley come walking in is interested in, or at least is fixated on her a little bit in this scene. And I love the fact that, there's been so much online hate about James Hurley over the years. And the fact that Lynch and Frost give Shelley her own close-up to say, James has always been cool, I think is just a really nice nod to the character because, James Hurley was an innocent, and people like to mock him and things like that. But he didn't hurt anybody. And yet he's like one of the biggest like hate memes out there in the Twin Peaks community. So it was wonderful to have Shelley just kind of say, no, James has always been cool. And I'm curious how they're going to talk about Donna because, I mean, they referenced that James Hurley was in a motorcycle accident. So I wonder if Donna was in that accident as well. I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Yeah. So there was her infamous line. And now in the background, you'll see Walter Olkowitz, who of course plays Jacques Renault. He is playing a character named Jean-Michel Renault. So another brother, a relative, I guess, but you wouldn't think the Roadhouse would just keep employing Renault brothers. And of course, at the bar, we have Balthazar Getty playing a character named Red, which is a familiar name with David Lynch fans, considering that's the name of a character that Sailor Ripley met in Wild at Heart. It's not the same character, but it's a familiar name. And he's obviously kind of flirting with Shelley. So I don't know if Shelley's married or whether, her and Bobby are together or what, but obviously there's some sort of play between Shelley and Red. And it's nice to see Shelley with like other women, because usually in the show she's either with Leo, Bobby, or Norma, and here she is just kind of hanging out with the girls, and that's a cool thing. And we get this nice shot of James Marshall. It's wonderful to see him again. And it's funny how this is a slight spoiler, but the next like the next 2 episodes at least, all end with performances at the Roadhouse. It seems to be like that's how Lynch is going to end these episodes, at least for a while. And of course, when this, episode 1 and 2 were split, we ended yesterday's with the Giant and the Phonograph. But when you saw it as a 2-hour premiere on Sunday, this was the ending of the episode. And so it's kind of intriguing that they're kind of ending each episode with a song and a different band. And it's no longer the Julie Cruz, Angelo Badalamenti kind of music. Now it's just like pop songs, but still within that David Lynch groove. The credits here. So many people. But yeah, we see Frank Silva as Bob, Al Strobel as Philip Gerard. Um, and you know what? I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I said that Al Strobel was playing the voice of Philip Jeffries. I totally misspoke there. I apologize. He's playing Philip Gerard. Uh, I could have sworn the first time I saw the credits it said Philip Jeffries as well, and I was like, "What the hell? He voiced that?" But whoever is playing Philip Jeffries obviously is still trying to trick Cooper Bob. So, but hell, for all I know, it could be Al Strobel. Who knows? But I don't think it is. But so that was a misconception on my part, so I apologize for that. But hopefully we'll find out soon what all the Philip Jeffries stuff is about. Yeah. Twin Peaks, courtesy of CBS, and Firewalk with Me, courtesy of MK2. Yeah, this is wonderful. And this one says in memory of Frank Silva. And maybe just the Bob reference in the cell with him floating away was just sort of a nod to him. That's kind of a nice touch if that's true. Of course, we get the Lynch Frost Productions. I love that. Just always love that logo. And yeah, because like the first episode was dedicated to Catherine A. Coulson. So yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Alrighty. Okay, so now we have a few minutes, guys. Let's have a little discussion. Let's see. William TQ says, does the one-armed man have a doppelganger or is he God? I don't know. I mean, he kind of had a doppelganger because he was Philip Gerard, the shoe salesman, then he became Mike, right? No, we'll do episode 3 tomorrow, guys. Leonard says, you know, I think he's referring to Audrey. Could she have created the box to try to save Cooper? I don't know. I mean, is Audrey even aware of the Black Lodge? I don't think so. Yeah, I just can't see that because like when she was in the hospital after surviving the bank accident, Cooper was already out, so she would never even know that Cooper was switched, right? Let's see. Lost in JP says, who knows who will perform there? It is basically music that Lynch and Frost like. One performance will probably be Julie for sure. Yeah, probably. Adamo says, I question this billionaire. I doubt the truth of his identity would be made known to random students hired to watch his private project. Probably. Michael Camarado says, Bob Frank appeared in the flashback to Cooper's doppelganger. That's true. So, oh yeah, Otto says there was old footage of Bob in the episode, the scene Cooper's remembering the doppelganger. Okay. So you're saying that the Bob credit is referencing that and not the CGI apparition. That would make a lot more sense. But I don't know. I'm just hearing everywhere that was supposed to be a CGI recreation of Frank Silva. If I'm wrong, fantastic, because that's what these watch-alongs are about. This isn't like I'm not trying to do definitive commentaries about this episode. I'm trying to just watch these with all of you, and we're just shouting out theories and ideas and things we're noticing. So if you guys know something, throw it out there. Let me know, because that would be great. I'd like to cement as much as we can with these 4 episodes before we hit episode 5 in 2 weeks. So Dallas says, Cameron, can we talk about the 9 to 18 episode conversion? Season 1 of Twin Peaks was tight. 18 episodes. Is that why Lynch took so much time with scenes and added the musical performers tags at the Roadhouse? See, this is what we don't know. We don't know if they took 9 episodes and then just stretched them out to make 18 episodes, or whether they had material for 18 episodes and they just were saddled with the budget of 9 episodes. I mean, I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Carl says, what does the tagline the show uses, it's happening again, even mean? I assume they were going to have there be another murder in Twin Peaks, but now I have no idea what the show's going to do. Yeah, that's part of the fun. William TPQ says, if that's Frank Silva in the jail cell, then my theory about the dude being possessed when he thinks it's a dream seems twice as legit. Maybe. Jobs 150 says, how much of the show will be in Twin Peaks? We won't know, but I'm sure as the show goes on, I'll bet you it increases, and I'll bet you that Badalamenti score that we know and love will probably increase there too. Kamari says, some are saying the new ghost is Liver Eater Johnson from The Secret History, and the ghost in the box is Lynch's version of whatever Nixon showed Jackie Gleason. Wow, that's intense. Badger says the ghost thing might be a Lumerian. The billionaire might be Jerry Horn. Interesting. Leonard says the black figure resembled Jerry with the facial hat and the hair. Maybe he got high off his ass and astral projected into the prison. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, to me, the first time I saw him, I was like, what is that? Osama bin Laden? What the hell is that? Lewis says, yes, we will all need to sleep. The third episode requires a lot of brain work. Yes, it does. And that's why we're going to do it tomorrow. And then we're going to do episode 4 on Friday. Let's see. JB says there's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind as a Neil Armstrong. Very cool. Let's see. David Dine says, I bet we will see a scene where we see what took the guard away from his post. And I bet it's someone who has been established. Very interesting. I've heard that the guard is actually played by a UK MMA fighter, if that's true. That's really interesting. That would mean that Tracy really didn't stand a chance getting into that room. Reggie says Osama bin Laden's the new Bob. Yeah, pretty much. Joab says, this is going to be like The Force Awakens with Cooper only coming back to full awareness at the very end of the season. Highly doubtful. I mean, look how much they do in 4 episodes, right? Even though we're only talking about episode 2. Tony Wheelock says, I think One-Armed Man is trying to get evil Coop back to Twin Peaks, and that will hope the show will focus mostly in Twin Peaks. Yeah, guess we'll find out. Let's see. Dallas says the dude in the jail cell looks like multiple Migs from South Lamb's Dumpster Guy from Mulholland Drive and the Jesus statue from Carrie White's closet. Yeah. Senate Kill says, why do people have such an aversion to drawn out scenes? I don't think people have an aversion to drawn out scenes. I think they have an aversion to like every scene being drawn out. Again, it doesn't really bother me, but I can see some people having a problem with that. Leonard says the guard is definitely an MMA guy with his ears looking like they do. Daduda says the Ace of Spades card had an ant drawn on it, and the man from another place mentioned a Formica table in Fire Walk with Me. Formica means ant. Okay. If that's true, you're onto something. Definitely. Okay, I can't answer that question, Jorbs. That's for episode 3, so save that for tomorrow. Let's see. Reggie says the actress who played the homeless guy in Mulholland Drive would be the best Bob replacement. She is actually going to be in this new series, and she also played the nun in The Conjuring 2, and she's getting her own spinoff as well, so that's fantastic. I think her name is Bonnie. I don't know her whole name. Badger says, I also think the spades are part of some ritual to resurrect deceased characters. Wish I could hang around, Cameron, but it's 4 a.m. here. Love all your videos. Hey, have a good night. Sleep well. And there'll be another video tomorrow. Yeah, so I know it's hard because a lot of us saw episodes 1 through 4, so we just want to talk it all. But I'm trying to contain this to just episode 2, so people who've haven't seen episodes 3 and 4 yet, won't be spoiled. Tomorrow will be episode 3, so if they haven't seen it, they shouldn't watch it. Please. So anyway, all right, guys. That's a very funny thing you said, DDR Res, but I can't talk about that till later. Luba says, let's see. The ring is from the same material as a table, and any head is the same on the card, on the ring, and on the steel knob in Owl's Cave. Huh. Okay. I'm trying to figure that out. Time Out of Mind says, do you think Matthew Lillard's character will cross paths with Bab Coop in prison? Definitely a possibility. Did not think about that. That's awesome if that, because then it'll all converge. But those of us have seen all 4 episodes. We all know about this prison thing and the fact that Doppelganger Cooper has the blueprints, and yeah, we'll get to that. But Jamie says so much to talk about. Tomorrow we'll hold way more discussion, probably. But we're trying to take this one day at a time, guys. If we did this all in one day, we would just be brain fried. So DDR says Lucy and Andy are cute. They always are. Luba says not any head, and then she has a picture of an ant. Dallas says great chat. Watch. Oh, thank you so much. All right, guys. So I'm gonna wrap this up. It's always wonderful to do these things with you, and this is only the second one we've done, but it's wonderful always doing the videos with you, regardless of their discussions or podcasts or whatever. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to be doing this tomorrow. It's probably going to be later than usual because I have to do this by my schedule. But I'll put the time tomorrow so you guys can plan for it. And if you're not able to make it, again, the videos will be up there for you to watch at your own convenience. So anyway, thank you again. Please like, subscribe, and share these videos. Really appreciate your support and your kind words and all your comments. It's so wonderful being able to talk New Twin Peaks with all of you. So you guys take it easy. Have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.